With solo cash cups coming up right around the corner in Fortnite, I'm going to show you the one strategy that will guarantee you qualify and even make earnings in the next solo cash cup. I'll be going over how to play each game, the range of kills you need total, and what aspects are the most important when it comes to qualifying the cash cup. So let's dive right into the first step of qualifying. Step 1. Knowing the format. Now this is probably not the reason you clicked on the video, but in order to know how to qual, we need to know the format like the back of our hand. Solo cash cups are placement based, meaning if you get a win every game for 5 to 6 games, you will without a doubt qualify even if you get 0 kills, which is very unlikely but possible. Now let's go for a more realistic approach to the game. The format is 65 points for a win and 2 points for every kill you get. So if you were to place top 3 every game with at least 3 to 5 kills, you would also qualify. Now another huge factor that decides if you will qualify or not is the region you are playing on. For example, if you play on EU or NAC, you will have a way higher chance of qualifying because there are more open spots. However, the player base is bigger, which can also mean a lot more consistency and better players that you will fight against, which is once again another great reason to not fight as much and just play out the placement. However, if you are on a smaller region like NA West, Oceania, or Brazil, you could also qualify with this same strategy, but you also might be able to get more kills because the overall skill level in your region is worse compared to the other ones, which leads nicely into the next step. Step 2. Your advantages and disadvantages. The main issue I see with people not qualifying is the fact that they always blame their outside factors or they don't use their advantages enough. Almost every player has one advantage, whether it be low ping, your FPS, your monitor, your keyboard speed, editing speed, aim, noise control, and every other aspect of Fortnite or your setup. Now we're going to talk about external factors. Some external factors like ping and S you can't change, especially if you can't move or upgrade your setup. So what is the one way you can deal with these things besides coping? And the only way is learning how to play on those disadvantages. Now, for me, a disadvantage that I have is I play on relatively higher ping on my region, which means every opponent I go against will be able to take my wall and box me. But since I am used to playing on this higher ping, it allows me to play in different ways that other players don't necessarily know how to counter. So it's basically finding something that is different compared to other players and using it to your advantage and other players' disadvantages. And this is usually why you only see pros in the top, because they have all the advantages and no disadvantages, which means they consistently stay on the top until someone with all the advantages beats them. Now that we are done talking about external factors, we can talk about the next step. Step 3. Internal factors. Now, internal factors are things like your mechanics, your aim, and your game awareness. And depending on the amount of time you play the game and how long you've played the game for, can be a huge factor in deciding how well you're going to place. But we can change that. All you have to do is rewire your brain so that you have a grinding mentality and or an improvement mindset. This will help you focus on the stuff that you are lacking in and can help improve those aspects in no time. If you can fix most of your internal factors, no matter what advantages the other players have, you should still be able to beat them because you are an overall better player in the game. And now we can talk about step 4, how to actually play the solo cash cup. Now that we have gotten all of that out of the way, we can focus fully on what to actually do to qualify in the tournament and hopefully make you some money. Now what I recommend once again is to play it safe and go for placement even if you are a fighting demon. The reason I say this is because I have had multiple tournaments in the past that if I had just played one of my games out, I would have qualified and possibly earned. So don't be greedy. The first thing I recommend doing is landing at a spot that you are confident at and usually has 1 to 2 players contesting you. This allows you to loot up enough and get enough stuff to be able to take 1 to 2 fights and get some early game kills. The reason I recommend getting kills earlier in the game is so that you don't have to worry about surge or possibly not getting those kills in the rest of the game. Also, if you do die off spawn relatively early, you have a lot more games that you can play out and play placement. And if you are not super confident in your early game, land somewhere safe and just loot up until you are ready to fight. Then for mid game, you should play it out relatively slow, taking almost no fights unless completely on dead side, because you don't want to risk getting taken out right before you are going to get loads of placement points, and you most definitely don't want to get third partied. Also, at this point in the game, you should be focusing on getting max mats, rotating to the dead side, getting max ammo, and having enough heals and movement for the rest of the game. However, if you didn't get your kills at the start of the game, try and take 1 to 2 fights and win them. And if you aren't winning them, back off, reset, and reevaluate if you should take the fight again or even take fights in your mid game. Now we are in the end game, and this is where you need to pop off but stay alive. Now, in the end game, you can usually get a lot of picks and free kills because everyone is frantically rotating and or looking for fights because of surge or refreshes. The goal here is to make it to the top 3 with 5 total eliminations. And if you can do that, then you have a great start to your tournament. Now, before I tell you about one of the most important things you need to do to qualify and improve, I want to ask you something. If you're enjoying this video, it would mean a lot to me if you could drop a like down below and use my code NOTFLOW in the Fortnite item shop to help me out and make better content for you guys. But now, let me tell you about step number 5. Step 5. Your points in the tournament. In most regions, you can qualify with 270 points or above, which means you roughly need to get about 3 to 4 really good games. The first game should be a little more aggressive, but not to the point where you're keying every player and just dying off the start. The first game is the most important, as it can boost your confidence for the tournament and also give you that great start you need. Or it can put you behind the rest of the players. So the first game, you should aim for around 55 to 85 points. Now, for games 2 to 5, you should play them out, placement, and try and get 5 kills. The reason I'm not telling you to key your other games and then play 6 to 10 out is because on some games, I guarantee you will have either a bad off spawn or a horrible mid to end game, and you will basically have wasted a match or two, which is why I recommend, once again, playing placement the whole tournament. After 2 to 5 matches, you should have around your 270 points. More realistically, around to 4 to 6 matches, you should have your 270 points. And if not, and you only have 1 game left, or you're at the end of the tournament and you only have 1 game left, you have to play it super aggressive, but also trying and getting the win. Now, once again, like I say in every video, setting your mind to actually achieving this is the hardest part of winning a cash cup or qualifying, and playing is the easiest part. So if you're not locked in and you don't know what you're going to do, or if you don't have a plan, you might be cooked for the entire tournament. This tournament is literally all on you. The most important thing about this, though, is that you're consistently improving and in making your gameplay and awareness and mentality better day by day. Another very huge aspect of getting better and improving at your tournaments is something called coping. A lot of people cope when they don't do good in tournaments, whether it's solos, duos, or trios, and they even do this when they're in creative and ranked. You do not want to cope. Coping basically just makes excuses for why you did not qual. And once again, we did talk about your advantages and disadvantages and how you can change those in your favor. So do not cope. If you lose a tournament and you didn't play it out how you're supposed to play it out, don't blame it on, oh, I was high ping. Blame it on the fact that you didn't play it out right. Or look at the ways you could improve your tournament experience. For example, if you died one game that you needed to get 50 points, but you only got 35 points instead, look what you did wrong, how you could have played it out differently, if you could have rotated differently, focused more on getting mats, or focused on getting more kills. This way, you are not coping, but you are actually improving your game awareness and improving your mentality at the same time, because if you just have an excuse for everything you'll do, you will never improve at the game, and you'll stay at something called a skill cap, which will overall hold you in the same place and not actually get you to win tournaments, because you're not improving at the speed you should be improving at just because you're making excuses. It's you versus you. And I would just like to say thank you guys so much for watching this video, and good luck in your solo cash cups. Also, if you like the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and please use code NOTFLOW once again in the Fortnite item shop, as it helps me out a lot. And if you guys want to join the Discord and ask me questions about tournaments or any of my content in general, please join the Discord linked in the description. I love all of you, good luck once again, and peace out, guys.